Peer pressure. Everybody's heard of that term before. How about beer pressure? Yes, this is a little tongue-in-cheek humor, and when I first came up with this sign, I had no idea it was going to become as popular as it was. So what I'm going to do here is show you how to make one of these. If you're a beginner laser user, this would be right up your alley. This is a very, very simple project, and it's not expensive to make by any means. There'll be a free download of this pattern, LightBurn file, that you can download and make your own if you wish. Actually, I have a couple different styles, but we'll get into specifics of that here in a minute. So what is this made out of? This is a cedar fence picket. Get it at your home store. They're 6 foot tall. This one actually, yeah, it's about 6 foot. And they are nominal 5/8 of an inch thick, and they're rough sawn. And I have run this through my planer back here, but you could also sand it if you don't have a planer, or you can leave it rough if you like that rough look, rustic look finish. The top of it comes with a dog ear, and the blank I'm going to be using right here is actually the top of one of these cedar pickets. When you do go to choose these, try to find one without a lot of knots. I was lucky to find one here that is almost 100% clear. A little bit of defect at the bottom, but otherwise a little tiny knot there. So you may have to sort through the pile. The other thing you'll find is most of the time they are what I call wet, which means they have not been kiln dried and they have a high moisture content. So if possible, get them several weeks ahead of time, leave them set in your shop, spread out so they can dry. Also try to find ones that are not cupped, warped, split, twisted, etc. You want it as flat as possible. Okay, with that said, go on the computer here and I will show you how this all lays out. Okay, this one here is for what I call the narrow sign. And if you look at my tool path here, this is 5 1/4 inches wide by 12 inches tall. This is what we're going to be making here. These settings here are for a 10 watt laser. I'm basing this on the Kentuck Tool JL7 laser because that's what I have laying out here on the table. So the first line engrave is 5,000 millimeters per minute, 75% power. Next one, the blue there, is an offset fill at 5,000 millimeters per minute at 40% power. The red is a line at 3,000 millimeters per minute at 50% power. And then the green is another offset fill at 4,000 millimeters per minute at 40% power. I found I end up with the best results using these settings. There's also another version of this, which is designed to be cut out of 1/8 inch plywood. And this is a 2-layer sign. So this would be your front. And then there's another file here that I will show you, which would be the back. That would be the back. And then after they're cut out of the 1/8 inch plywood, they are glued together. Okay, getting back to the one we're going to be making here. I'm going to get my laser set up and turned on, and I'll show you how to get this all set up on it. Okay, one of the first things we're going to need to do here is set focus. So again, this is a Kentuck Tool 10 watt laser, JL7. So you put the little kickstand down there and you lower your head down to where it just touches the material, tighten your thumb screw, put the kickstand back up. Now I'll send this back home. Well, I need to get our work positioned, and I have a layout grid here, and I'm working off of absolute coordinates. That's what's nice by having a layout grid. It's very easy to lay out your project. Of course, now I'll frame it. If you are new to this, it's important to frame your work. You can watch that and make sure it's on there exactly square. And I see I'm off just a hair. That's what's nice about having the layout grid. So even though I knew where it needed to be, I was still off crooked, just a hair there. This way it follows everything. And I have my framing set to frame slow so that I can make adjustments as you just saw there if I need to. It is possible to speed up your framing. There's a setting for that, but I prefer to keep it about this speed. So there we are good to go. I can hit start. And away we go. Total engrave time for this sign is 13 minutes and 12 seconds. Of course, I won't video the entire thing, but we'll check back on it every now and then. So there we are. There's our finished sign. I'll show you what the other style looks like. This one has some little clamps on it because it isn't glued together yet, but there is a front layer and a back layer, and this is made out of 1/8" plywood, and the back layer is stained around the outside edges to give it some contrast. That's what the second style looks like, and that file is also in the file package. So what do you finish this with? Well, polyurethane, polyacrylic if you're working inside, or if you're going to be keeping it inside. If you're going to be using it outside, I would suggest a spar varnish or a marine type varnish for outdoors, or a marine polyurethane or an epoxy. There's a lot of different things you can use for outdoors. But it does need to have a coating on it, or that will fade outdoors. Indoors, you don't really have to do anything with it if you don't want to. I'll give you one suggestion though: when you do put your finish on, put your first coat on with a spray. Because if you try to use a brush, you can pick up some of the dark, I'll call it soot, from the engrave, and that will spread all over and it'll not look so good, unless you want to make it like Halloween looking. But there's how you can finish it. So the next question I'm going to get is, well, what do you sell them for? That's 15 bucks right there. Easy. The 2-layer sign with the 1/8" plywood, the double layer, that one is $19.95, $20. So I give you an idea what this stuff sells for. This is a very popular little sign, extremely popular with man caves, and it's a guy thing, you know. Give in to peer pressure. You could also modify this design and make coasters with it if you wish. And everything's in there in the file. You could take it apart and do as you wish with it. So again, the files for this, free download, it's a LightBurn file, and it's set up for a 10-watt laser. If you're going to be using a 5-watt, you'll need to make some adjustments with power and time. Same if you're going to go with 20, 30, or 40. But this is an ideal project for a 10-watt laser, especially some of the fine detail with my little devil horns. A 10-watt laser, as a rule, will give you a finer definition and has a finer line than, let's say, a 40-watt. So 40-watt lasers and 30 or 40-watt lasers are best for cutting, and the 5 and 10 are best for just engraving. And if you're in that 20 to 30 in there, it's kind of a dual purpose. So something to think about. The laser I used here again was a Kentuck Tool JL7. I used that because I already had it sitting out here. And it's a 10-watt laser, and it fit just perfect with this project. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. Be sure to check out our other beginner laser projects. There'll be a playlist thing at the end of the video. Oh, and if you'd like to get one of these lasers, I'll put a link in the description for that. It's a good entry-level laser. If you're just getting into this, it won't break the bank. So, I'm Roger in the shop. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.